Hey everyone, welcome back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Could be any time of day. Who knows when it is? It's the YouTube. So I hope you're all doing really well. We're going to dive into a news article which I think is really relevant. Again, for those who are new to the show, firstly, give us a like, subscribe, comment, say hello. You know, we really appreciate you. We'd love to sort of get to start build a relationship with our community and, you know, get a bit of a thing going. So I really appreciate any support that you're able to do. Obviously, a like doesn't cost anything, so just hit it, please. Thank you. We're a new show, so join us at this early incubation period. It's like, you know, planting acorns. So we'll see where it goes.
Absolutely.
So usually we talk about AI because we're in that space, but we do talk about general tech topics as well because we're in technology. We find all technology interesting, and we usually bring some of the latest stories to you. Now, Will, we've got a really pertinent story which isn't AI. Sorry
Indeed.
For those AI lovers, but I think
Indeed.
it is important and it's a good conversation, I think. So let's dive in, Will.
Absolutely. Let me share my screen as always, and we will choose the article. Now, this article there's a million of these articles because this is quite on the edge of the news at the moment, especially within the tech sphere. And that is the massive supply chain hack that happened in the crypto space. And this was a big one, wasn't it, Ben? I mean, you alerted me, to be fair, and then obviously it was all over X, it was all over Reddit for me as well, and now it's all over the mainstream news. And this is a big one because typically when a crypto hack happens, it usually costs someone a lot of money, and this is no different. But this one is a particularly interesting scenario that's happened. And yeah, as Ben said, we cover lots of different tech stories, and this is a big one because this is some frontier technology. We love frontier technology, and this is possibly, you know, one of the biggest stories of the year, really, for the crypto space. So how would you like me to break it down, Ben? Would you like me to explain how it works, what's happened? Would you like to launch in? How would you like to do this?
Well, listen, just a very brief overview. In short, there's been a hack within the wallet, not technically within the wallets, but there's been a hack, and it basically means whenever you are transferring funds from, say, for example, an exchange to your private wallet or one wallet to another wallet, when you're copying and pasting your address into the wallet that you want to send it to, the hacker is able to create a similar address without you noticing, hopefully, to try and sort of get you to think that you're sending it to the address that you think you're sending it to. So if you're just very briefly, you know, trusting that your copy and paste is working and you're very briefly having a quick scan, you may be fooled in thinking that you're sending it to the correct address when in fact you're sending it to the hacker's address. So that's basically the story. I think it'd be interesting just to dive into that a bit more, maybe explain to the audience how it's happening, what you know, all those sort of questions. So let's just, that's a brief overview, effectively.
That is an overview. It's important to note that this is with hardware wallets, cold wallets, if you like. So if you're using something like Coinbase or, you know, any other sort of centralized exchange, then you are likely safe. I mean, you can never be 100% sure, and you should 100% check your wallet addresses to make sure that the one on screen being shown is the correct address that you are expecting. But this is primarily attacking those hardware wallets like Trezor, like Ledger, a bunch of these ones where you have a physical device that you plug in to your computer and your phone. There's a piece of software running on that computer, and it's that cold storage wallet that you've got to really watch out for. So that's the first thing. So it's not mass panic on the entire
Sorry, Will. It could be a hot wallet. Am I not right in thinking that? It could be a mobile wallet, for example, as well.
It could be a mobile wallet as well. So it's really important to know it's anything running on your computer that is using npm. So I'll explain what that means basically. So in the developer world, we have something called npm, which is a package manager. Now, if you don't know what a package manager is, that allows you to download other people's micro bits of software to bolt onto your software. So we use npm all the time. We basically, are constructing around the software that we built. We might need a package that, does colors for us, for an example. It can do anything. And you'll use npm to install that. Basically, we can install other people's software to make our life easier. We don't need to rebuild everything. We can use other people's open source solutions. And this gets to the heart of what a supply chain attack is. A supply chain attack is where you exploit a vulnerability in someone's supply chain, and package managers have always been a supply chain vulnerability for developers, because you're downloading third-party software and you don't know what's inside it. Package managers like npm, there's another one called yarn, and this is just for the Node.js environment. I'm probably saying a lot of technical keywords, but they're aware of these vulnerabilities and they put in protections to stop you downloading malicious software. But how this one came about is a key account within the npm ecosystem became compromised, which allowed these packages to all be updated and sent out to people. And the packages affected accumulate over 2 million downloads a week. So developers are installing these packages all the time in new projects, in old projects, and using them regularly in their software. And this is how the vulnerability then comes about. So it's running on your computer in your development environment. And what it does is it scans network traffic for crypto addresses or things that look like crypto addresses. And if it finds one, it swaps it out, as you said, on your screen. So it only affects the user interface that you might be working on or working within. It swaps it out, and not only that, as you correctly again said, it swaps it out for an address that looks as visually similar to the address that was on the screen as it can. Again, in the hope that you'll give it a quick scan. I mean, we've all done it. Maybe you haven't, Ben, but I certainly have just had a quick look at the address. And it looks about right. The last 2 characters, that kind of thing. But this really highlights how you need to check the entire address, because this hack tries to make it as visually similar as possible so that you don't necessarily notice. And it swaps it out on the screen for what is the hacker's main address, or one of the main addresses. So it is primarily hot wallets. If you're using it on a centralized exchange on your phone or on a website, then you're probably okay. But if you're using a desktop piece of software and you're a developer, then you definitely need to watch out.
I think the key takeaway is ultimately this exploit, this hack, isn't going to literally just drain your funds for no reason. It is purely trying to fool you to thinking that you're sending it to the correct address. So it's in many respects, it's a really simple fix. Just check the address that you're sending it to, and make sure it's the correct one. So, even if the wallet has an exploit on it, if you're sending it to the correct address, it's an irrelevance. So just to put everyone's mind at ease, that's the reality of the matter. Now, what I picked up on yesterday was there are just, and again, this is just for more informational purposes, really. There are a couple of wallets that don't use NPMs. So again, just to share with you, 𝗂𝗃𝗃, which I believe is just a Bitcoin only wallet, and Sparrow as well. So there are others as well. So again, just to share that with you. But like I said, there's nothing wrong with any of the wallets. In terms of this exploit, it's a case of just checking, and no doubt all the wallet providers are going to be on this right now, looking to put a fix to this to see if they're compromised in any way. So I don't know, Will. I mean, what's your sort of general sort of take on all of this? I mean, we haven't really heard any crypto sort of chaos for a while, since 2021, 2022 really, wasn't it? 2021 was the sort of last bull market. 2022 we had old Sam Bankman-Fried and Celsius and all the rest, and big blow-ups and chaos and all, big crashes. This is probably the biggest story for a little while that's broke, I would say.
I'd say it's a big odd one. I mean, there's believe it or not, there's actually regularly hacks to crypto, because it's just such a frontier technology, and it's people don't understand it. People don't understand what they're doing. They don't understand the technology behind it, and therefore it can be easy to exploit. But this is the biggest, most mainstream one in a while, in a long while. It highlights a couple of points for me. One is that crypto is incredibly secure until it's not. You've got to be so careful. There is no backups. There's no backup methods in terms of where you're sending it. There's no take back payments. There's no phone number to ring. So if you get it wrong, you could lose your funds forever. So this is what's really important about understanding what you're doing when you're transacting through any blockchain network, because there's no take backs on this one. So that's important. The bigger question is how something like this can come to happen. It's not the first time NPM packages and any package, like other package managers, NPM just happens to be a massive one. It's the Node.js environment in which NPM operates within is humongous in the developer world. It powers I don't have a percentage, but it powers a large amount of projects. Specifically, if they're web projects or they're in the terminal, then a lot of the time you'll use Node.js. And this is not the first time something like NPM has seen compromise. So there's been a lot of security risks of it, and this highlights probably a further problem is how you deal with this in the long run. How do you end up with a package manager that is so widely used that you can compromise? I'll put up the list of packages. It's not many, and I'm sure in the coming days we'll also get a post-mortem on actually the amount of money, or an estimate on the amount of money affected. Look, here we go. We have literally just a few. It fits on one screen. I mean, I won't count them, but it's what, like 20 maybe? 20 packages. And that equates to 2 billion downloads a week. 2 billion affected devices, in that space. 2.6 billion downloads every week. I mean, how does that happen? How can you have a compromise to such a degree? And then that's a problem. Something like that's like NPM has to solve.
That's the question that I was going to ask you, Will. I mean, how can this happen? I mean, what's from a developer's perspective? How can does a developer, again, just to share with the audience, I'm not a software engineer, so I'm hopefully asking some of the questions that you might have. I come from a slightly different angle. So from the developer's perspective, do developers put their trust and faith in NPM packages just to assume that they're safe? Are there checks and balances from that side? Equally, what should software developers be doing to ensure that there isn't exploits within the code that they're looking to deploy?
Yeah, I mean, the short answer is yes. Developers do typically trust NPM packages because I say you don't have much choice, but there are protections. NPM is very reputable. I believe it's owned by GitHub, which is obviously then by proxy owned by Microsoft. So there is trust by association. And oddly enough, you run a command called npm. You run npm install, and then you type the name of the package. The problem is that I can upload an npm package, for example. We've got open source projects. I can upload that as an npm download that someone can install via the npm package manager. However, what makes up my project is a load of npm packages that I have installed. I mean, and I have a big list of those packages, and then those packages are made up of a bunch of other packages. So you can have thousands of dependencies. You often, as a developer, you might install a package that you trust, and it is a widely used package. It's got millions of downloads a week. But what makes up those packages? You then don't know. You won't be able to tell. And often it's one of those smaller pieces of the puzzle is what has malicious software inside. How this has come to happen, we're still waiting to find out. NPM hasn't responded yet to actually how this came to be, how the account got compromised.
That would be interesting to hear. That would be interesting to hear what their responses are.
But exactly. But there isn't anything stopping you uploading software to NPM. Anyone can upload software to NPM, and it takes seconds to upload.
So it's almost peer reviewed. It's almost gone on. If something's had a lot of downloads, it sort of, I guess, gives it that credibility. Is that the sort of take on things? I mean, is there a check-in mechanism that an engineer can use?
Not really. No, wow. there are mechanisms built into npm and pnpm, which is another one, as well as package managers like yarn. These are all package managers within the Node.js ecosystem. There are virus checking and malicious software checking mechanisms. However, they're clearly not good enough.
Wow. So you're totally reliant on npm, and as an engineer, there's no way you can do like secondary tests.
There are, but again, to the average person building average projects, you just install this software, you see that it has 20 million downloads a week, and to be honest with you, for the most part, it is trusted, and then there's likely nothing wrong with this. Hacks do happen, but this is a massive one. This is a big demonstration of if it can go wrong. It really does go wrong. Yeah, we'll wait for the post-mortem from npm. Maybe we'll have a follow-up episode where we look into how they think something like this happened.
And just briefly, we talked about this a few weeks ago, didn't we, with how AI was going to be developing sort of viruses, and how that won't even be obvious within any sort of security checks as it'll adapt to the individual's computer.
Yes.
This is wild.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's no doubt we are entering a new age of technology where different vulnerabilities and exploits happen. Again, it'll be super interesting to get the post-mortem on what exactly powered the exploit that happened here within the crypto world, because obviously you have things like switching out addresses and finding ones that are most similar. We don't know how that works. That could be really rudimentary, or it could use artificial intelligence. When we spoke about viruses being constructed, again, we spoke about 𝗷𝗏. I don't know if you remember 𝗷𝗏, the little llama icon in your toolbar that allows you to easily download and run models. This is how one of these exploits could happen. You can install 𝗷𝗏 as a package through npm, and it's not malicious on its own, but that allows you then to programmatically install models on your computer without you signing off on it. And that then allows you to run those models with inference and get it to create code, write files, do whatever you would like it to do. So what's the answer to that? I mean, you can't block 𝗷𝗏. Inherently it's a package that's used to run AI models that has a lot of legitimate purpose, which people use. But it's impossible to detect what that software is going to do, what that 𝗷𝗏 model is going to do once it's pulled down. We have to enter a new age of detecting malicious software because it's changing rapidly.
So bring it back to, I guess, the real world in terms of, for people. I think the takeaway is quite simply just be very careful, be very cautious, check what you're signing. Just as you would with cash. If you're going to pull your wallet out and pull out a load of cash and give it to somebody, make sure you're giving it to the right person, or you're giving it to, sending it to where you want to send it to. So I think ultimately, crypto is the ultimate pure money. So, like you said, there is no, you're the custodian. You've got to take responsibility. You've got to look after it. Just as you would cash in your wallet, you're looking after that money in your wallet. You've got to guard it, protect it, look after it, take responsibility. There isn't a help number. There isn't a call center you could phone up saying I made a mistake. Just be smart, be careful.
In terms of this hack particularly, as my last thoughts, is that you should probably just refrain from doing any transactions at the moment if you can help it, because we don't know the full scale of the attack. We've had no post-mortems, we've had no releases from anybody as of yet, as of time of recording. So we don't know the full picture. We've got reports of what we have, but we're still waiting for that full picture to come out. What does appear to be apparent at the moment is that if you have a cold wallet with a screen, then go on with that wallet address. If you have to do a transfer, look at the screen of your cold wallet, because those are impenetrable. Trezor is encrypted, and as an example, and that wallet address that shows on the screen is the one that is true, not the one on your computer screen necessarily, or your phone screen, depending on where you're using
That's
it.
very true. Very good point, Will, because there are some wallets that you can't see the address you're sending it to. I think it's, I haven't played with those, so I can't really comment too much.
If it doesn't have a screen, I would refrain from sending anything until we have a post-mortem.
Perfect. Brilliant. Listen, guys, I hope you got some value from that. Let us know what you think in the comments. Be really interesting to hear from some of the crypto community. And would really appreciate your support. So for now, we'll say au revoir. And I sound like Del Boy, don't I? And we'll catch up with you tomorrow, and we'll bring you the next sort of latest news that we can find and give you our take on it. So for now, take care, and we'll catch up with you soon. Take care.
That's the next one. Bye.